Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I am Shane.
And I am Kiki. So, part 1, we talked about life on a submarine.
Yes.
And we heard a little bit about you, Shane.
Yeah.
You used to live on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, I was on a boat in the Navy.
That's really cool because I got a chance to visit the USS Lexington.
Oh.
And when I toured the aircraft carrier, I noticed that there were a lot of places where sailors have to move through that are super
tight, right?
Tight.
Yeah, very small.
So what was it like to live on a carrier?
Life is very crowded on there. You especially, like I slept in a space that wasn't very big. Imagine maybe it was 80 ping or something like that. Not very big, but we had 84-man, we called it a berth, which means a living area. And so you would sleep, basically you would have bunk beds and you would sleep 1, 2, 3 people. And then there would be a space about this big, and then right on the other side is another 3 people. So you have 6 people in this very crowded space, and then it just keeps going like that all throughout the room.
And you're a tall guy.
84 people.
You're tall, Shane.
Yeah, well, not by, I think for a foreigner, kind of average. So the bed was long enough, but it's quite narrow. And it takes a lot of getting used to being in such a small space. It's because it's crowded.
Right.
And you're always bumping into people, and some people wouldn't take a shower after they were done working. They would just go lay in their bed, and then they smell bad, and you have to get used to just being around so many people in a closed space. It takes a lot to get used to that.
Wow, okay. And so I bet life on a submarine probably takes time to get used to as well.
It's probably even worse.
Ooh.
All right, let's learn more in part 2.
Submarine sailors also have little space to themselves. Except for the captain and his top officers, the sailors share sleeping areas. Those spaces have 6 to 9 tiny bunks.
Okay, so today is part 2 about life on a submarine. So let's find out what it's like to live in a submarine.
Okay, I bet it's a lot like an aircraft carrier, but even more crowded.
Ooh.
Okay, submarine sailors also have little space to themselves.
Ah.
Yes,
I can
relate to that. Yeah, that was my experience. Except for the captain and his top officers, the sailors share sleeping areas. That was the same on my boat. The top officers and the people who were basically, the leaders, they would have their own still small sleeping area, but it was private.
Yeah, they had their own space.
You don't have to share the sleeping area with other people. So people are snoring, or people get up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. They might step on your bed.
Oh.
It's crazy.
Okay.
What's a captain?
So a captain is basically the leader of a team where people have to work and sometimes live together. Mm-hmm. Now, in a ship, the captain is the person that is in charge, or we say in command of the ship.
Right.
They operate the ship, so they drive it, and they decide where the ship goes. They also decide everything else that happens. So they will tell their top officers or the people below them what to do, and then they will send those commands down.
Right. Now, when we're talking about officers and we're talking about like inside like a business or a company, when we're talking about the top, we mean the highest or the most important position, right? Sometimes we call this a rank. And your rank is just like how high or how low you are on this. You can imagine it's kind of like a ladder, right?
Right.
How high are you? So the highest rank would be like a captain on the boat, right?
Or a principal at school.
Right. So we can say top. And for example, Karen is the top teacher at her school.
Oh, she definitely is.
She is, right?
She's really good at teaching. And everybody loves her. Yeah. And also, you will have something called an officer.
Right.
So sometimes when you hear the word officer, immediately you'll think police officer.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But today we're talking about the submarine. And in this case, an officer is basically a person that has authority or power. They get to decide on something. The officers will tell the people below them what to do, what tasks need to get done. And if we talk about in a business environment, these officers are usually heads of different departments, and they're also in charge of making sure that everything is run smoothly so the captain doesn't have to worry.
Yeah, when I was in the Navy, it was usually like the officers had a higher education, like college or a master's degree. And then the regular sailors maybe didn't go to college or something like that. So that is usually how it was separated.
Right.
Okay, we have a vocabulary word share, which is a verb, just means to have part of something while another person or other people also have a part. So for example, the two students shared a sandwich. So here on the boat, these people have to share pretty much all of the space that they're using.
Right.
When you're sleeping and you have to share, the space in the small area, that gets tough. So those spaces have 6 to 9 tiny bunks.
Oh, that's what you said in the introduction.
Yeah, I had 6, so I can imagine 9. Wow, that would be, I can't even imagine.
And you lived on an aircraft carrier. This is a submarine.
Right.
So this sleeping area must be really crowded and tight.
Very cramped.
Yeah. And you also mentioned that you slept on a bunk.
On a bunk. So what is a bunk?
A bunk basically is a bed that is arranged to be one on top of the other.
Right.
So a lot of children with siblings, when they were growing up, they might sleep in bunk beds.
Yeah.
Like my sister and I, we slept in bunk beds for
so
a while.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I didn't have any brothers or sisters growing up, but I always would go to a friend's house and he would have a bunk bed, and I thought that was so fun.
Well, but you got to sleep in a bunk bed when you were at work.
Well,
when
at
you
work,
got older.
it wasn't fun.
So the point of bunk beds usually is to save space.
Right.
And of course, in a submarine, they definitely want to save space, and even in the ship.
Right.
So this will allow for more people to sleep in the same area.
Right. Okay, why don't we take a short break and we'll be right back.
What's more, the sailors must be ready for all kinds of danger. That can be something on fire or something wrong with the boat. It can also be another submarine. When that happens, the sailors must be very quiet. Any noise from their submarine can help the other one find and attack them. Life on a submarine is very challenging.
Welcome back. Before the break, we learned a little bit about how sailors, officers, and captains, how they lived in a submarine, and also learning how to share space.
That's right.
But now we're going to learn a little bit more about what a submarine might do.
What it's like what life is like on the submarine.
Yeah.
Okay. What's more, that just means additionally, the sailors must be ready for all kinds of danger.
Ooh.
So it's not very safe being on a submarine or any kind of ship. There's danger all around you.
Okay.
So basically, danger is just the possibility of something happening that will injure you or harm you or maybe even kill somebody. And for example, you could say there is a lot of danger while hiking in the mountains.
Because you never know what might happen.
Yeah,
Animals.
You can slip and fall, a snake can bite
Yeah.
you, but on a submarine, there's different types of danger.
Okay, so what kinds of danger might be in a submarine? Let's see. That could be something on fire or something wrong with the boat. It could also be another submarine.
Oh no, like it may be an enemy submarine.
Trying to hit hit your submarine.
With a torpedo. Torpedo is kind of like the missile that can go through the water. They call that a torpedo. Maybe torpedoes are being shot at your submarine and you have to avoid them. Whoa.
And also, we mentioned that in a submarine, there's a lot of different types of equipment and even more torpedoes and a small space. So something can go wrong, like if something just got caught on fire.
Sure, as soon as there's a fire in a small space like that and you're underwater, contained in there, you're in big trouble.
Oh gosh, that sounds really scary.
So continuing, when that happens, the sailors must be very quiet. So when there's another submarine.
Okay, right.
They must be very quiet. Any noise from their submarine can help the other one find and attack them.
That's because in a submarine they use sonar.
Sonar, right. So they're looking for sound.
Right. Okay, so here we have the vocabulary word attack. And this is basically when you are trying to take action against, sometimes it could be land, or sometimes it could be an enemy. And usually you're using weapons to try to harm or force your enemy or the opposition. So you're trying to fight them.
Right.
Okay? So an example sentence would be, the army attacked the ship to keep them from getting close to the coastline. So they're trying to keep them far away.
Yeah, and a person can also just attack another person. Like I could attack you, and that would mean me basically harming you, or
I can attack you with my words.
Ooh, please don't do that.
I won't.
I'm very sensitive.
I won't. You're my friend.
Okay, good. All right, let's continue.
Okay, so life on a submarine is very challenging.
Indeed. So if something is challenging, that just means that it's difficult, but in an interesting way that tests your ability. So a challenge is something that kind of tests your ability, but it's difficult. So for example, you could say, Henry's math class is very challenging. So it's difficult, but it's kind of a bit interesting and tests your ability to maybe do the math.
Yeah.
Might not be very easy, but when you do it, even though it's difficult, you feel like, all right, I did it.
You accomplished something, and you probably feel like you've even grown.
Wow, so life on a submarine does not seem easy, but it does seem like an interesting challenge.
All right, that's it for part 2 of Life on a Submarine.
Okay, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Submarine sailors also have little space to themselves. Except for the captain and his top officers, the sailors share sleeping areas. Those spaces have 6 to 9 tiny bunks. What's more, the sailors must be ready for all kinds of danger. That can be something on fire or something wrong with the boat. It can also be another submarine. When that happens, the sailors must be very quiet. Any noise from their submarine can help the other one find and attack them. Life on a submarine is very challenging.
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 captain 名词，船长、舰长。The captain gave orders to the crew. 船长向船员发出指令。Crew 指的是全体船员。下一个单字 officer 名词，长官、官员。
The officer gave a speech at the ceremony.
长官在典礼上发表了演讲。
Ceremony
指的是典礼。下一个单字 share 动词，共用、共享。Let's share the last piece of cake. 我们来共享最后一块蛋糕吧。最后一个单字 danger 名词，危险。The patient is now out of danger. 这位病人现在已经脱离危险了。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 except for 除了什么之外，这是一个介系词片语，当做这个意思的时候 for 可以省略。我们来看看这个例句。Everyone came to the party except for Tom. 除了 Tom 之外，大家都来了派对。下一个文法 What's more 此外，而且。我们来看看这个例句。Lisa finished the report early. What's more, she did it perfectly. Lisa 提前完成了报告，此外，她做得非常完美。Perfectly 指的就是完美的。最后一个文法 wrong with 加名词，什么出了问题 ？Wrong 是形容词，意思是出问题的、不正常的。我们来看看这个例句。There's something wrong with the machine. 这台机器出了一些问题。以上就是这一课的重点单词跟文法，回去记得复习哦。我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Hey, Winnie, some of us from marketing are going to go play pickleball at lunch. Do you want to join us?
Count me in.
It's time for some translations. The topic is expressing willingness to participate. So, the first one is 算我一份.
I want.
I want.
Count me in.
Oh, count me in.
Oh, I want to join.
I think it's count on me.
Count on me, okay?
Count me in.
Very
Ding,
good.
ding, ding.
Count me in.
Count me.
Yeah.
Okay.
我会去.
I will go.
I will go. Sure.
Add one more word before sure.
I will going sure.
I will go for sure.
Oh, for sure. Oh.
That was so good,
We're
though.
so close.
Yeah, very good. Okay, what have we learned today?
The topic for our translation today is expressing willingness to participate. The first phrase is count me in. The verb count means something that is countable or something you can calculate. So the phrase count me in refers to the literal action of adding someone into something, meaning that you can include someone to participate, and they're showing that they want to participate. So the opposite of this would be count me out. The next phrase is I'm there. If you want to emphasize that you will definitely be somewhere, you can add so into the phrase, making it I'm so there, meaning that the speaker is definitely going to be there and they really want to be there. And those are our translations today. Kiwi later!